everybody, and welcome to the November 22nd, 2022 Hempstead Town Board meeting. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Supervisor Clayton.
I am here.
Councilman Carini.
Here.
Congressman-elect Diaz.
I am here, thank you.
Councilman Dunn.
Here.
Deputy Supervisor Coosby.
Absent.
Councilwoman Miller. Here. And Councilman Muscarella.
Here.
The receiver of taxes. Here.
Okay, I'm going to ask the receiver of taxes to lead us in the pledge of allegiance.
Right hand over the heart, I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, please call the first item of the public hearing.
We have a proposal of law regarding regulations and restrictions to limit parking in Belrose Terrace, East Meadow, Elmont, Merritt, Oceanside, and Wanville.
Okay, any member of the board wish to be heard on this? I do not have any slips on item number 1 on the calendar. Is anybody who did not sign in wishes to be heard in the public?
I do.
Okay, if you please go to the back and identify yourself with your name and address. Thank you.
Bill Kachi, Franklin Square.
Good morning, Mr. Couch.
I just want to point out that this hearing, and just not be redundant, all the hearings on this calendar were not posted 24 hours in advance on the website as required by law.
Okay, well, you have a question on number 1?
Yes.
Oh, which one?
It wasn't posted properly.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And all the others weren't posted properly either.
Thank you, Mr. Couch. Anybody else that wishes to be heard on item number 1? If not, may I please have a motion?
I move the public hearing be closed and we adopt the item.
Second.
Supervisor Clayton.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman Diaz-Zeno.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller. Aye. Councilman Muscarella.
Aye. Okay, let's go next.
We have a proposal of law regarding parking on standing prohibitions in East Meadow, Elmont, Levittown, Merritt, Oceanside, Seaford, and Unionville.
Okay, I do not have any slips, but does any member of the board wish to be heard? Anybody wants to be heard on item number 2 that did not sign in? If not, may I please have a motion?
I move the public hearing be closed.
Oh, you want to move on number 2?
I just want to know where.
Oh, you come to the back there, or you know what? Make a little, come on up here, ma'am, make a little easy for that. Let's go ahead and get the 2 games. You go up to that mic there. If you just identify yourself, your name and address, that'd be awesome. Thank you.
Mary Ellen Cray, 436 Locust Avenue, Uniondale. I just wanted to know the location in Uniondale.
Okay. We identify yourself, Mr. Allen?
Tom Green, representing traffic control. Good morning, Supervisor. The location in question in Uniondale is on Southern Parkway. For a resident, we're implementing a no parking sign. She's having a problem with people parking in front of her house for extended periods of time, hanging out at all evenings during the night. She just wants to clear the area out of parking cars, so we'll be implementing new restrictions for her.
Okay.
Thank you.
No problem. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
I move that the public hearing be closed and the board adopt the item.
Hold on. Second.
Supervisor Clayton.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman Diaz-Zeno.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller. Aye. Councilman Muscarella.
Aye. Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have a proposal of law regarding arterial stops in Elmont, near Lawrence, near Rockville Center, and Woodmere.
Any member of the board wish to be heard on this? I do not have a slip. Does anybody who did not sign in that wishes to be heard on item number 3? If not, may I please have a motion?
I move the public hearing be closed and the board adopt the item.
Second.
Supervisor Clayton.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman Diaz-Zeno.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Okay, Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have a proposal of law regarding traffic regulations in the vicinity of schools in Belrose Terrace and Oceanside.
Any member of the board wish to be heard on this? Okay, I do not have any slips on item number 4. Does anybody who wish to be heard on item number 4 that did not sign in?
Yes.
Okay. If you please identify yourself with your name and address. Thank you.
Peter J. Kennedy, taxpayer. My question, I just need clarification with regard to what this law actually entails.
Okay. You identify yourself again. Thank you.
Tom Green, representing. The two locations for this section is for Oceanside and Belrose Terrace. The one in Oceanside was restriction requested by the school to establish a parking spot for their school buses. And the other location, Belrose Terrace, we're just repealing a conflicting ordinance that is conflicting with the new resident parking permit up in that area.
So this is more relating to actual parking, but not as far as restrictions and things of that nature, like crossing. I just asked because when it said the schools, because we have a significant shortage in school crossing guards, and the safety of our children, you know, and our seniors and veterans is at the utmost, and just wanted to make sure that we're all on alert and working within our districts, particularly our schools, to make sure that our children, you know, and all those who are dependent on these support services get safely to where they need to be. So that's why I just needed to have some clarification with that. But again, we do have a significant shortage of crossing guards, so if anybody knows of any crossing guards, please get in touch with the police department so that we can get our officers off of the corners and back on patrol. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else have any questions on item number 4? If not, please have a motion.
I move that the public hearing be closed and the board adopt the item.
Supervisor Clayton?
Aye.
Councilman Green?
Aye.
Councilman Diaz-Padrón?
Aye.
Councilman Dunn?
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller? Aye. Councilman Musgrove?
Aye. Okay, Madam Clerk, please go next item.
We have a proposed local law regarding gross weight restrictions in Elmont.
Okay, any member of the board wish to hear on this? Okay, I do not have any slips. Is anybody not signing that wishes to be heard on item number 5? If not, please have a motion.
Move the public hearing be closed and the board adopt the item.
Second.
Supervisor Clayton?
Aye.
Councilman Green?
Aye.
Councilman Diaz-Padrón?
Aye.
Councilman Dunn?
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller? Aye. Councilman Musgrove?
Aye.
Okay, Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have a handicap parking on public streets in Franklin Square, Roosevelt, South Hempstead, and Uniontown.
Okay, any member of the board wish to be heard on this? Okay, I do not have any slips. Is anybody who did not sign it wishes to be heard on item number 6? If not, please have a motion.
I move the public hearing be closed and the board adopt the item.
Supervisor Clayton?
Aye.
Councilman Carini?
Aye.
Councilman Diaz-Padrón?
Aye.
Councilman Dunn?
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller? Aye. Councilman Musgrove?
Aye.
Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
Adopting the Town of Hempstead public parking field maps showing parking regulations at certain parking fields in Levittown and Seaford.
Okay, any member of the board wish to be heard? Okay, I do not have any slips on item number 7. Does anybody wish to be heard on item number 7 that did not sign in? If not, may I please have a motion?
Move that the hearing be closed and the board adopt the item.
Second.
Supervisor Clayton?
Aye.
Councilman Creamy?
Aye.
Councilman Diaz-Padrón?
Aye.
Councilman Dunn?
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller? Aye. Councilman Musgrove?
Aye. Okay, Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have the application of, the continued application of Baldwin Jazz LLC, care of Breslin Realty Development Corp. in the Boulder Mixed Use Zoning Overlay District, the building zone ordinance.
Okay, good morning, Councilor. Will you identify yourself?
Good morning, Elizabeth Akashigano with the law firm Son Ward Brad Collins, 333 Earl Ovington Boulevard, Uniondale, New York, 11553, for the applicant Baldwin Jazz LLC and care of the Breslin Organization. With me today, I have David Orwasher, Chief Development Officer, Breslin Realty, and Baldwin Jazz LLC, along with Justin Breslin and Ken Breslin from the Breslin Realty Organization, Walter Seaver, Director of Site Development at Cameron Engineering, Jack Rager, Architect with Minnow Wasco, Dave Tepper, Planning Manager at Cameron Engineering, Rebecca Goldberg, Sequent Traffic and Parking Engineer with Cameron Engineering, and as you know, on October 3rd, we were here and presented extensive testimony by myself and our experts, and we also heard from some of the residents in the area who we were thankful to meet with on November 3rd in my offices. So based on their testimony at the November 3rd hearing and their comments, my team made certain changes to our site plan based on those comments and revisions that we have already presented to the town regarding those comments, most of them related to traffic and parking on Harrison Avenue. So I'd like to call up Walter Seaver from Cameron Engineering to discuss the changes made to the site plan, and I'll also call up Rebecca Goldberg from Cameron to discuss the updated traffic impact They'll also discuss the changes that stemmed from our discussions with PSE&G to bury those underground lines and easement that was created that would affect the parking adjustment. As the town knows, I also submitted a letter dated October 19th that described those changes that were made, and I'll submit that today to the board at the conclusion of our testimony. At this time, I'd like to call up Walter.
Good morning, this is your name and address, that'd be awesome.
Good morning, Supervisor, members of the board. Walter Seaver, Director of Site Development, the firm Cameron Engineering and Associates, with offices at 177 Crossways Park Drive, Woodbury, New York. As Elizabeth spoke about, we did present the application at the October 3rd Town Board hearing, and as presented at that hearing, we spoke about modifications that would be made to the site plan to provide a 10 by 30 electrical easement for the relocation of the electrical infrastructure from the above-grade equipment to below-grade equipment along Harrison Avenue and a portion of Sunrise Highway. This required the reconfiguration of the low-level parking area, which had an impact on the parking, which Rebecca can speak to. The site plan and building design was also revised to show mechanical space coded closer to Grand Avenue frontage, where both the domestic and fire protection water will be connected to the municipal main in Grand Avenue. We also heard from the residents concerned with regards to additional traffic flow onto Harrison Avenue. In an effort to mitigate those concerns, we evaluated what, if anything, could be provided to reduce traffic from the applicant site onto Harrison Avenue. The result of that analysis is a reworked building access driveway, residence drop-off area, and redesigned loading space and delivery drop-off area. The combination of these modifications to the site plan resulted in all outbound traffic from the development turning left or going northbound towards Sunrise Highway. No southbound traffic will be exiting the site and going toward Merritt Road. Reinforcing this left turn movement, changes were made to the southerly radius of the development driveway. A left turn traffic arrow was added to the site plan, and additional regulatory roadway signage in the form of left turn only signs will be installed on both the site and on the east side of Harrison Avenue directly across from the driveway. Similar changes were also made to the 12 surface parking spaces slightly further south on Harrison Avenue, which will also direct all egress traffic leaving that parking facility in the northbound traffic pattern. One other change was that we did add 6 additional EV charging stations to that parking facility. Additionally, the developer will also be seeking to have the town sign Harrison Avenue with no parking restrictions on both sides of the street from Sunrise Highway, a distance of approximately 350 feet south, which will help free up the width of Harrison Avenue with no cars parked on either side of the street at that location across from Dunkin' Donuts and the proposed development.
I just got a quick question on that.
Yep.
You said in council you spoke to the neighbors, correct, on that? You explained to them that your idea of maybe no parking there?
Correct. We did have a meeting at the offices of Sun Lords, and we discussed and presented that site plan.
Okay, great. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be calling everybody up. We're going to give everybody their opportunity to be heard. So please, I'm going to give everybody the opportunity on this.
So I just wanted to make one comment on that, Supervisor. Based on the residents that appeared at the last hearing, we invited them all to my office. Some came, some called by phone. We sent them the site plans. It was their request to have no parking signs in that section of Harrison Avenue. And they also requested other things regarding enforcement of existing signs, which we already discussed with the town attorney's office. So we relayed all of their concerns to the town attorney, and we incorporated any other concerns into those changes in our site plan, which now direct any traffic from our site north only, and no right turn will be available to them. So I'd like to call Rebecca to discuss the updated traffic.
Good morning, Supervisor Clayton, board members. Rebecca Goldberg with Cameron Engineering, business address 177 Crossways Park Drive, Woodbury, New York. Here to summarize today the changes to the driveway and parking that were made since the October 3rd hearing at the board. where we testified that we needed to reduce what was a BMX code compliant parking count, not only for a PSEG easement, but then also for subsequent changes made in response to the board and community concerns about traffic that could head south on Harrison Avenue. So we want to confirm today that on the revised site plan, because of the post-hearing changes that we made, I'll explain in a moment how the traffic flow changes affected the final parking tally, but the new plan is a 32 space surplus above the density bonus provisions. So that requires 221 spaces, and we have 253 that are broken out between 281 spaces in the main as part of the property, and then the 12 separate spaces further south on Harrison. Next, the current plan has 7 handicapped accessible parking spaces. 7 ADA spaces are required, so we satisfy that count as well. And just to orient ourselves, because I want to move to talking about the turn restrictions. As you're coming out of the property, if you could make a right turn, you would be heading south on Harrison. So by having everybody turn left, you're heading north on Harrison Avenue towards Sunrise Highway. And the same changes were done to all of the access points. So first point is with the signage. As Walter explained, the signs are going to be on the driver's right as you exit, and then also posted across the street, and that's standard procedure for how we sign turn restrictions. I'm just going through my testimony so I don't repeat anything here. Okay, so the changes to the at-grade parking were necessary because we had to expand the circulation area, again, to accommodate the request to not allow right turns out of the property. The same driveway radii are done at all 3 access points. That means the drop-off lane aisle, the main access on Harrison, and then the 12 parking space access as well. To put it into context, we have what's called a 2-foot radius, which is almost a square, on the driver's right side, and that's to make it physically unworkable to make a right turn. To put it into context, we would normally have roughly a 20-foot radius, 10 times the size, if we were allowing right turns. So by drastically reducing that radius, we make it physically unworkable to make a right turn, and it helps enforce the turn restriction that the board and the community have requested. And we just needed to also do an additional change because of the way that the drop-off lane is parallel to Harrison. So it's okay for a car to come out of that drop-off lane and make a left turn, but because that drop-off lane could also be used for trucks, Amazon deliveries and such, we wanted to give those truck drivers the ability to maneuver around this reduced area around the south side of the building to get to the main Harrison access where they could be facing the street and then make their left turn without swinging out so far that they might need to make a 3-point turn or something like that. So the changes, that's why we had to reduce the parking count to the 253, but again, we are at 32 space or plus above the density bonus number. There is no change in the traffic numbers. We're still within those secret thresholds. There's also no change to the sidewalk and the pedestrian accommodations that are all along the frontage. So as far as the secret compliance goes, the conclusions from the prior hearing remain, and we've just addressed the plan to try to address the comments, and then balance that with still trying to maximize the parking and exceeding the density bonus number as much as possible. And that concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Any board member have any questions? Okay, we can stand by for a little bit.
Okay, so as discussed, there were changes to the calculation of the FAR and parking that were made to the plan. With respect to the FAR, there was a tabulation error, which was revised and resubmitted to the town along with, a letter describing such. And however, no physical change was made to the actual building. The building is the same exact building that was presented on October 3rd. So that was just purely a numbers error. Previously, the requested FAR was at 1.91, which would fall within the bonus. However, due to the error, the actual FAR is 2.75, which falls outside the bonus requiring a variance. As to the change in parking adjustment, as Rebecca just explained, we now have 253 spaces, which we previously had 284. That change was due to the easement required for PSEG to bury those underground utilities and put in those vaults. All of that was placed on the record at the last hearing regarding the utility. We just wanted to confirm that we do have 253 parking spots. The minimum parking required with the adjustment would be 221, as Rebecca stated. As to all the development and design criteria and the variances, my office drafted a detailed letter to the town, which reflects and substantiates the satisfaction of the bonus criteria and the factors related to the variances. We submit that this project satisfies all those criteria based upon our previous testimony and written submissions to the town. Further, we also submitted a detailed correspondence which satisfies the factors the board must use when granting variances, and we will submit that letter again today for the record. And we submit that the project will not create an undesirable change in the community. What it will provide is a much-needed change that benefits the community as a whole, socially and financially, removing a derelict property, and creating a 215-unit multi-use, mixed-use building in the TOZ, in the MX TOD zone. The benefits cannot be achieved by any other method other than the granting of these variances. They are not substantial when viewing the totality of the application. We have demonstrated that no adverse impact on the physical or environmental conditions will occur. And although they can be considered self-created in nature, in order to achieve the stated intents and purposes of the code to their fullest capacity, they are necessary, and I'll submit that November 11th letter to the board as well. You know, and obviously we made extensive testimony at the October 3rd hearing, and I know the board does not want me to repeat all of that. On November 11th, we appeared before the Nassau County Planning Commission, and they recommended local determination. A copy of the resolution is not yet available, but once we have it, we'll submit it to the town. And the town's consultant, VHB, issued an updated consistency analysis recommending a negative declaration in this matter. We'd also like to submit for the record today the 2022 HUD income guidelines. As we know that Councilwoman Gooseby had some questions along those lines. We do have 10% workforce housing set aside at 80% of area median income. And as for the rents for those units are proportionate, and they will be at 30% of the 80% AMI numbers. So for example, if a one-person family seeks to rent a studio and their maximum income can be $80,000, then their yearly rent would be 30% of that number at $24,000, $2,000 a month. And that's just by way of example, as you know, by the time if granted it was built, it'll be years from now, and we don't know the exact HUD income guidelines at that point in time. The other units will be market rate, as stated previously. So at this time, we'll be here. We know there are people that would like to speak on this application, so I'll reserve the conclusion for after all of that. Unless the board has any questions from the experts at this time.
Any board member have any questions for the board experts at this time? Okay, as you know, there are a number of residents who want to be heard, so I appreciate that. So we'll start, and when we call you in, you come on up and go to the back mic and give your name and address. Ms. Craig, we have you listed as wanting to speak on this item. Ms. Craig, did you want to be heard in this one? No? Okay. And Calvo? Did you want to be heard? Okay. You just come to the back and give your name and address.
Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Ann Calvo. I live at 2360 Harrison Avenue, Baldwin, New York. I've been a resident on that street. It'll be 35 years in February 2023. I'm a retired nurse. I had worked at Winthrop NYU for 19 years. And I'm sorry, I am not as prepared as I would like to be for this meeting because everything was very much last minute that I became informed of this meeting and the plans for our corner. It's a very beautiful building. I might actually qualify for low-income housing at this point in time if I wanted an apartment in this complex. But I have a few questions for this lovely woman because you mentioned that the residents were informed in the planning. I'd like to know if this was the county's idea to beautify Baldwin. Has anybody physically from the planning or the real estate company involved been on that corner to see not only the traffic patterns, but the size of this? It looks like it's encroaching upon the parking lot of Mount Sinai, which has been there for many years. They took over the lumber yard. It was bad enough when those businesses went out of business because Lexus wanted to park their cars there. And all they've done is transport cars up and down. They created a tremendous eyesore. My other question is, how long is this going to take to develop? Are you going to rezone us as a commercial area? Because my taxes just went up again, and I'm happy to admit I voted Republican, as I always have, and it's nice to meet some of you gentlemen today. The other thing is, you talked about 215 units. Right now, whenever we have a brownout or a blackout, we've had issues with PSNG. National Grid has been in the process for years now, chewing up all of Grand Avenue and the streets. We have access from Sunrise Highway and Merrick to come down to our own homes, but you've got school buses picking children up, you have the garbage trucks coming up and down that block. And if I was hearing correctly, my other question is, people will be making a right, so you're at the corner where Dunkin' Donuts is. Are you making that whole block a one-way or a two-way, which means that...
Ms. Cavo, we have a 3-minute rule, but no, that's okay. Listen, that's okay.
Because I have a lot more.
No, and trust me, I got the bottom. So first I'll let the council respond, but also I'm going to ask her to sit with you after to do follow-up, and I know you have a couple more. So maybe, council, if you want to respond to a couple of them, but I'd also ask you if you could...
Thank you for your time.
No problem. But if you could also, after...
So I'm not going anywhere. I plan to spend my day here.
Thanksgiving.
No problem. So those are a lot of questions. Sure, sit down. And I'll be available to answer each and every one. As for the planning of this, as the board knows, as many people know in this room, this has been going on for years with New York State, for the DRI districts, and the code was developed based on all the studies that were done in the Baldwin area. And I think it was in 2017 that the recommendation for this BMX code was done. So in that respect, yes, my client also had a total of 5 town halls to discuss this project over the years. We do have 800 signatures, 700 plus signatures in support, and of course, we're always happy to meet with neighbors, and we will continue to do so, just like we did a few weeks ago, and we'll do so again. So we're always open to meeting with everyone and being completely transparent. As for the traffic, it is still a two-way street. We are just requesting, based on comments and requests from those neighbors at the last hearing, that no parking signs be placed between Sunrise and where the transfer station is, in order to avoid Obviously, there's a Dunkin' Donuts, there is a drive-through, and cars seem to spill over. So based on the comments from the neighbors, if there are cars parked on that area of the sidewalk, which would be across from our property, and there is a Dunkin' Donuts line forming due to the drive-through, that starts to make a lot of problems with congestion. So if we could eliminate that parking in that particular area in front of our own property and across the street, I think that would alleviate the issues that some of the issues that the neighbors were concerned with last time. What else? I forgot.
She had the question about, is there going to be any rezoning to commercial? I know she was concerned about that.
Well, no, I mean, we're in the overlay district, which obviously all the existing zoning remains, and those applicants that want to petition to be part of this district are, which we are in the multifamily mixed-use district. The one last thing she mentioned about the density, the number of units, and Dave can testify to this, that the BMX overlay district contemplated 1,192 units, and we are just a small portion of those with this application.
How many units is it? How many? 200 and?
The application is for 215.
Okay.
Okay. And I'll be here in case she wants to ask more questions.
And I appreciate that, Ms. Callow, that she's committed to, and if everybody has to go, I will say the counselor is pretty good about it. If somebody has to leave, would you commit to doing a follow-up with anybody if they have to go to work or whatever we have to do?
We'll do what we have to do. My name, numbers on the record. I can hand out my cards, and everyone is welcome to reach me at my office, and I'll answer any questions and meet with them.
Okay, thank you. Next, I have Karen Montalbano. Good morning. If you give me the name and address, that'd be great.
Karen Montalbano, Park Avenue, Baldwin. I am the government liaison for the Baldwin Civic Association. Been involved, as you may know, many times speaking on this project, been involved with speaking with the Breslin people and their council, etc. I was one of those who attended the meeting. They made sure I knew about the meeting, and from what I understand, they did invite anybody who spoke at the last town board meeting to come and voice their concerns. We found that they already had made plans to try and address some of the things that were done, that were said at the last meeting. Once again, we were one of the ones who pointed out about the Dunkin' Donuts, etc., and they seem very willing to work with people who have concerns on this project. Once again, the Baldwin Civic Association, as well as the Baldwin Chamber, are looking forward to seeing this project completed. We do feel there will be a benefit to the community. We do understand that there are concerns on Harrison Avenue, and we are very hopeful that everybody sitting down and talking can find a very reasonable solution to those concerns. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next I have Gina Rodway.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Gina Rodway. I reside at 2339 Harrison Avenue, Baldwin. And I was here for the last meeting. However, I did not get or don't remember any invitation to come speak with Breslin. I know I got a card, but I didn't know that a meeting ensued for any of that. My questions are very blunt and to the point. Is parking completely blocked or just directed away from Merrick? That's one of my questions.
So what the engineers have done, there's no way to completely block any exit. So they have engineered the curbs so that it makes very, very difficult for anyone to make a right turn. They would have to jump a curb with their vehicle. But I can have the site engineer explain to you exactly what they've done with the plan.
whether or not parking is screened from the road, or you said blocked, so.
In other words, my question is, if there is going to be, first of all, I'm not sure how this goes. I'm trying to imagine it in my mind, but I would really like to see exactly what that looks like. The other issue is there going to be a one-way on Harrison Avenue going in one direction? So in other words, if you cannot go towards Merritt and you have to go towards Sunrise, you're going to go out on Sunrise, come around the block, and go back right around and go right back into the housing situation that is being built. That is like one big go around. Let's go out this way, come around, and go. That's going to cause a lot of traffic as well. My next question is, there are how many units? 215, and you said there are 253 parking spaces. So then, if the area that I believe that you're talking about, which is that you can only go when you come out of the building, you can only go, or you're directed to go to Sunrise. If there are enough parking spaces, why do we need to put a one-way on Harrison Avenue? That's another question I have.
There is no one-way on Harrison Avenue.
That's not what's being said.
So Harrison Avenue is staying two ways. The only people that are going to be directed north from our site are residents and anyone who is parking for the commercial uses in our lot. They are directed to go north on Harrison, but Harrison is not becoming a one-way street.
Maybe there's one thing. When you say the word residents, you're saying residents who live in the complex.
Correct.
Okay, that's I think was a little confusing.
Any tenants in the building, or any delivery trucks, or any vehicles that enter our property from Harrison Avenue will only be able to exit north. The rest of the street, the whole street, is still two ways. There is no, we're not doing a one-way street.
So is there a situation, oh gosh, that's only 3 minutes. Is there a situation where I think the no parking signs are in question there on Harrison, because there are no parking signs there. You can only park there for 2 hours. So my concern is, I want those to remain.
So the request is for all of the south of our project and south of the transfer station, there are many signs that say 2-hour parking all along Harrison. The request is to keep those, not take those away. The neighbors that spoke at the last hearing had recommended just enforcement of those signs, because they believe that people park there for the train and they stay all day, and when they're not enforced, they just keep doing that. So the residents feel like they don't have their own place to park at times, and that's how it goes. So no, we are not requesting no parking on Harrison. We want those signs to stay. Everybody is in agreement that those signs are going to stay. We're just requesting no parking across the street and on our side, so there's no congestion with that Dunkin' Donuts drive-through situation that happens.
Okay, so just for clarification again, so the no parking is limited to the front of your potential structure.
Yes.
And across the street by Dunkin' Donuts.
Yes.
It is not any further south for the Harrison Avenue residents,
No.
right? But you are still proposing, saying we want to have the 2-hour parking signs remain there as they exist currently, I think, and you're hoping that there'll be additional enforcement so people don't be bad neighbors to our friends on Harrison, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's.
The other question I have is property value. What will happen and ensue to our property value as a result of this huge commercial building.
Ms. Rodway, as you know, we're under the 3 minutes. I'll have her address the, what they may, think is going to happen. And also, again, you see, council, she wants to make herself available, and that's very important to me, and I know to everybody else that it isn't, just here. There has to be a continued discussion. So maybe you can, council, respond a little bit to the concerns about the property value.
I'm sorry, Supervisor.
She wanted to know if there was any indication or any estimation or any thoughts on how we
I mean, our real estate expert could not be here today, but he did present testimony at the last hearing regarding property values and their appreciation in the area once we have new residents to shop and dine. As you know, this will spark commerce in that area. It will spark, many jobs in that area. So we feel economically, we've done studies of our own. The town has done independent studies at the IDA reflecting those positive cash benefits and, not only to the Baldwin community, but to their residents as well and to those seeking employment. Also, I just gave Ms. Rodway a copy of a certified letter that was sent to her address, but for some reason it came back to us. But we've been more than happy to meet with whoever requests a meeting, and we'll be here.
Thank you. Next I have Rhonda Eisenberg. You're gonna pick? Okay. After that I have Randy Arellano.
Good morning, Randy Arellano, 351 Harrison Avenue, resident for 26 years. I would like to ask how many of them, of anybody who did this survey, tries to get to Sunrise at between 6 and 8 o'clock in the morning with Dunkin' Donuts and the line coming off of Sunrise and trying to get into the parking lot. That's one. There's a 2-hour parking that's been there. And we can't get some residents that live further south to pay $12 or $15 a year for the parking for Long Island Railroad, so they park on our block and walk to the railroad. That's 2. 3, the lady who spoke that lives on Park Avenue, she's south of Merritt Road. She doesn't live on Harrison Avenue, so that's not going to impact her. Harrison, from Sunrise to Merritt, is a thoroughfare for everybody to go down, so they avoid Grand Avenue. Now, they're saying that they're going to direct people with their cars to make a left-hand turn. Who's going to direct them? Are you going to have Nassau County cops sit there? Because there's a no left turn, and everybody else, myself included, have turned the opposite way. I'm sure everybody else has done it as well. Now, the apartments are going to be 215. Most homes have 2 cars. So if you have 430 spaces, these cars are all going to park on Harrison Avenue. So,
Council?
So again, a lot of these concerns are based on traffic flow and the parking situation. So our building is designed to be transit oriented, as you know. And Rebecca can speak to the times that the gentleman was talking about as they did the study. However, just in terms of what I know is that based on these projects, most of our tenants are going to be using that LIRR during those peak times, okay? We expect that that's what we have shown in many projects that we've done before, and this is that type of building that attracts young millennials, empty nesters. They don't want to drive. They want to be walk accessible to wherever they have to go, and they want access to the train station. Now, no, there's not going to be a Nassau cop, but if you look at the site plan, which I'm glad to go over with anybody who's here today with our engineer, the way we have directed our residents to exit the facility and any delivery people to exit the facility, it's quite impossible to make that right turn now. So all that traffic will be directed up to Sunrise, and that's literally just from our building. So our residents don't have any reason to go south They're coming into our building, heading south onto Sunrise and onto Harrison, just to get into our lot, and as they exit, they'll have to go north. Our residents, to go north on Harrison wouldn't make sense for them, if they're further south. One other thing I wanted to point out was, again, he's talking about that infamous drive-through at Dunkin' Donuts. That's part of the reason we're requesting no parking across the street, because, we've heard from the residents and we understand that, it's called Harrison Avenue, but it's not as wide as a true avenue, it's a street. So, if people are parking across the street, and they already have this issue now with the Dunkin' Donuts drive-through, then you have people idling there, and people who are actually heading north to get to Sunrise are gonna have an issue. So they already have these issues. So in order to alleviate the existing condition and avoid any further exacerbation of that is the reason we've requested just in that area, no parking, no standing signs.
Okay. Next I have Chelsea Arellano.
Yes, fine. The questions I had were answered.
Okay, and by the way, and again, Counselor said she'd be happy to follow up with anybody after in case there are any further questions on that. Next I have Janice Hartman. Hi.
I just have a few words.
Okay.
Hi everyone, my name is Janice Hartman. I live at 2365 Harrison Avenue, and I've been a resident for at least 55 years. I've seen many changes in Baldwin, and not for the good. So my first thing that comes to mind is anyone that would want to move into Baldwin, I would imagine would want to live in a prosperous town. You take a walk down Grand Avenue, it looks like a depressed village. And I can't see people wanting to live a block away from a depressed village. There's no place for these people to shop there. You say you're going to put in a shop, or maybe a couple small shops and a restaurant, an eatery or whatever. I don't think that is going to make that much of a difference in Baldwin. You're making Harrison Avenue into a main thoroughfare. We have two-family houses on that street, and we need the streets for our parking, not parking of the overflow from the apartments to come. I would like to know, or if I can ask, what happened to the grant that was given to Baldwin to fix up Grand Avenue. I haven't seen anything happen, nor on Merrick Road much, where it was told originally it would take place.
Ma'am, I'm sorry, are you referring to the $10 million grant?
Right.
Okay, so I know that this was discussed at the last few meetings and we've been discussing Baldwin. So that specific grant was not entirely for infrastructure. That grant was actually beneficial to the developers in order to develop the Grand Avenue corridor. It wasn't given to the town of Hempstead to put shovels in the ground and build sidewalks and repair streets and put streetlights up. That's not, although it may have been presented like that, that's not really the case.
Well, in your honest opinion, what do you think of Grand Avenue? Would you be enticed to come there, to shop and to live?
No, but I think that that's the purpose. I think that that's what we've been working on for the last few years.
Where has there been improvement on Grand Avenue?
Well, this town board has worked in order to put the zoning in place, not only to hope for smart development, but also to protect the quality of life in Baldwin. I mean, that's what we've worked towards. That's why we put a moratorium. That's why we've moved towards making Baldwin a better place while trying to preserve the quality of life and protect overdevelopment.
You're protecting overdevelopment, you're bringing congestion to Harrison Avenue.
Ma'am, you asked what this town board is doing to make Grand Avenue better. I'm just explaining to you that over the last few years, there has been We've taken steps. It's been a long process. This has been going on far longer than probably any of us have served on this board. And I think that we've made advancements the best we can.
I don't see any of it.
Okay, I guess we disagree.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
And as far as residents being notified of these meetings, the town does have our addresses to send out our tax bills. Why can't you use our addresses to advise us of these meetings so everyone can attend, and maybe make it at a more convenient time that the working people of Baldwin can attend these meetings as well? Many of us haven't known about the past meetings, and a few of us found about this and we spread the word around, or we wouldn't have as many people here today that showed up.
Just so you know, the last meeting, council, was that night meeting?
No.
It was a day, we had a full house. I just want to let you know. We had a full house here, we were here all day long, and I believe, Councilor, you advised neighbors in the surrounding area, am I right about that? Yep, with you.
Well, I live on Harrison Avenue, and I can.
Okay.
I haven't. But I don't see the income that would be coming into these apartments. I don't know how they would be helping the town of Baldwin or the shopkeepers of Baldwin.
Ms. Harmon, I'll let you follow, but just so you know, at the last meeting, we talked about Harrison because that was a major concern that we were kind of focused on that. We were afraid of. There was no left initially. It was going up and down. And we raised that as a legitimate concern that we didn't want Harrison to become the cut through with the area. So just residents came down and talked to us, but council will follow up with you. And like I said, this is just a hearing. It's a hearing today. That's all.
We have children living on.
I understand we have a number of residents. Like I said, I got to stay this 3-minute rule here. But council will make yourself available, and we like I said, we're just listening to the residents right now. Okay.
It's the only people being affected by this are the people on Harrison.
I understand, Ms. Harmon. I heard you loud and clear with the concerns, and that's why I said we're listening to you, and we're going to follow up here. I ask you to stick around, and also if council will make sure that she's listed on the mailing address for any additional hearings if there are any. Pedro Gonzalez. Pedro, did you want to be heard, Pedro? No. No. Okay. Stelios Karadzazius?
He's with my firm.
He's with you? Okay. John Scaraccio? Good morning. You give name and address for the record.
Good morning. John Sparaccio, 2355 Harrison Avenue, Board. Good morning, Town Board and Supervisor.
Morning.
I'm going to go over a few things and then you can answer them when you're done. Parking is already absurd on Harrison Avenue from the commuters that use Harrison Avenue as the parking lot for the Long Island Railroad, which is up the block. Presently, there is 2-hour parking, but never enforced. The cars are there for days on end. There is already no parking by that substation that the council spoke of earlier. Dunkin' Donuts lines in the morning is 10, 15, 20 cars deep at times. Harrison Avenue already is a main thoroughfare. There's multiple bus stops already there now. One stop sign between Sunrise and Merrick, which is only a suggestion at best. There's a commercial building just south of where they plan on, just south of where they plan on building this. It's a 2-story complex with approximately 150 spots. Between 3 and 5 p.m., it's like the Daytona 500. It's a mass exodus going in both directions. There's already a church on that block. Saturday and Sunday, there is no parking whatsoever we've had times where we can't get out of our driveways because of, the church going on there. No right turn is only going to be a suggestion out of this complex that they plan on putting up the signs at. Why can't there be an exit or entry on Grand Avenue similar to what the commercial parking lot, the commercial building for Mount Sinai uses? They have an entrance and exit on Grand Avenue, which is more of a thoroughfare. There's traffic lights and you can get in and out there instead of using a residential street. My concern about the infrastructure and sewage, you're going to add 400 more people in the infrastructure to support that. I understand you have 700 signatures for. I can guarantee you don't have 700. I can guarantee you don't have 10 signatures on Harrison. I'm sorry, but there's no way. You might have got it from where this lady lives. I'm not quite sure where she lives. The parking spots, are they paid for on top of the rent? Or is that, we have spots available, but we got to pay $400 for a spot? Oh no, I'll just park on Harrison and rent. And do we know what the rent is going to be in these when you say market rate? Is market rate in 3 years from now when, a mortgage is going to be whatever it is, and rent is going to be whatever that is in 3 years from now? I think that's all I got. Thank you for your time. Councilman Diaz-Esposito, congratulations on your win for Congress.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Councilor, if you could maybe give a response to a couple of those questions in particular.
Yes, so Rebecca is going to address the statements as to traffic that he was.
So again, Rebecca Goldberg, Cameron Engineering. First, to reiterate, we have the no right turn signs, and we also have the physical curb that makes it physically unworkable to make right turns. There's really nothing else we can do to prevent people from making right turns, but we're trying to redesign our driveways to address that concern that the board and the community had. To recap a couple of items, because I'm not sure everybody was aware from the last hearing, there was already an area-wide generic environmental impact statement that the town did, and they identified traffic mitigation at multiple intersections. So this application is within the confines of that prior environmental impact statement. That's number one. Also, with respect to parking, about 80–85% of these units are studios and one-bedrooms that do not need or require by code 2 spaces per unit. Again, the environmental impact statement addresses the parking requirements in the TOD zone and other places in Baldwin with respect to the numbers of bedrooms and then with respect to the square footage of the commercial space. We are above those requirements, so we are not going to have parking spilling out onto Harrison associated with our site. We do hear there are concerns with existing items like the Dunkin' Donuts and other items on Harrison that is not related to this application. And again, happy to answer any other questions.
Actually, you had a really interesting point so I rent a unit. Am I guaranteed a spot, or do I have to pay extra for the spot?
All spots are paid for.
So they're included with the purchase, so whoever lives there gets one spot?
No, the parking, they have to pay for their parking.
Every single month or yearly?
I don't know, I think is it monthly or yearly? Monthly. And I just wanted to address one point that one of the other people who came up to speak. We do not currently own this site. So anything that's going on there now with cars being moved on and off the site, we don't own or control this site at this time. We are the contract vendee, and our contract is based on approvals. So again, if there are any issues with the site that are currently happening now, they're not under our control.
Next I have Mira Meredith.
Say Mira Meredith?
Yes, ma'am. We're going to take questions. You have 3 minutes, like I said, council, stick around here. We have a number of people to go through here. If you please give me name and address for the record. Thank you.
Rita J. Meredith, Baldwin resident, and no, I don't live on Harrison either. First, I have to say, with regard to the reference to Karen Montalbano, who has been a strong and committed advocate for all of Baldwin. So, when people say, okay, this person's not speaking for me, or they don't understand where I'm coming from, she's one of those that was out here, because I don't know many of you, but she's been one of those that's been out here for the $10 million that the town was going to put on hold, okay? She's been out here, okay? So I just wanted to clarify that. I wanted to get that clear. And just so you know, I don't live in Harrison either, but I've also been out here for the residents of Baldwin, for our underserved veterans. I had 3 hours of sleep just over at the Armory at Freeport for the stand down that ends at 1 o'clock. So if anybody's served, they need their resources, go and get them while they're there, okay? So I'm already amped up here. Now look at this. I was also at that initial meeting and I didn't get any notification about the following meetings. And my issues have to do with, similar to what the residents who live on Harrison, but those of us who live in Baldwin, with regard to the tax breaks, the increase on not only the traffic for you, but on the water and the sewer support services for all of us in Baldwin. We're an unincorporated hamlet, okay? And the way they're going to dice you up with the redistricting here, as well as with the county of Nassau in 3 pieces, we need to be unified in this situation. We don't need to divide and talk about, you don't live on my street, you don't live on my avenue. We have to be unified in getting the answers to this situation. Because I want to know specifically who all is involved. Generally, you look at other occupations, what is the retail occupancy for these establishments that they say are going to create jobs and bring in businesses? Drive through these other communities where they have empty buildings. They're pretty, but they're empty. They're not occupied, okay? Let's talk about that, okay? Let's talk about these other communities that build these housing units and we don't even know about them and they're already rented out. Not with our seniors and our veterans and our young people who can't afford to live here, but they're already rented out for people, like you said, people who don't know our community, don't know the values that we try to place in here. And as you say, how can we have enforcement for the tickets when we can't get our police officers off the corner crossing our children? Okay, so there's a lot of things that we need residents, not just focused on your block, but focused on your community, focused on your taxes, to ask the questions and put it on the line. Okay, where's the diversity in the contracting? Because they just did an expose about no bid contracts in the town of Hempstead. So we're bringing in contractors who are friends and relatives, who are not hiring people who look like us, who live here and pay these taxes. Where are the answers to those questions?
Okay.
They're not in
Thank you, Ms. Meriden.
Okay,
We
thank
appreciate it. Next I have Jean LaRoche.
Supervisor? Yep. There's been a couple of comments with regards to the questions being posed by the residents, and I just wanted to respond to one in that approximately 1,200 units were proposed in the draft environmental impact statement. That draft environmental impact statement stated that adequate water and sewer availability would be provided for those units. We've also received from Nassau County Department of Public Works a letter of sewer availability. That letter is dated September 27th, 2022, and that was submitted to the town, I believe. We've also been in discussions with New York, or rather Liberty Water now, New York Liberty Water. There's a 20-inch water main within Grand Avenue that has more than adequate pressure and flow to supply the building. And we've just been dealing with their legal team right now in obtaining that letter of water availability for the project. But that will be provided once we do receive it.
Okay. Jean LaRoche.
Sorry, I'm just taking this opportunity. Again, just to address another question that I neglected to answer a minute ago. With respect to the access, this property does have a very small frontage on Grand Avenue, which is an Nassau County road. It has frontage on Sunrise Highway, New York State, and then most of the frontage is Harrison Avenue, Town Road. The state and the county will not allow this type of property to have access on their roads. The county would never allow a new access at the point where this property has frontage on Grand Avenue. Just the distance from Sunrise Highway, the access management policies that they have had in place for over 20 years, it will not allow it. So we have to have access on Harrison, which again, we have tried to design to discourage and prevent traffic to the south of our site on Harrison.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hi, how you doing for your name and address, please?
Good morning, I'm Jane Howard. I'm sorry. Thank you for calling me. I picked up. I have a little problem with my team. Next time, maybe I will.
Okay. Yeah, but if you want counsel to take your name and address so you can follow up with her, you will, okay? She'll take your name and address if you want to talk to her on the phone or something like that, okay?
735 BT Drive.
She's going to take it right now from you. Okay. Next I have Stephen Greenfield. Good morning, your name and address, please?
Stephen Greenfield, 2336 Harrison Avenue. I'd just like to say that we've lived with an unsightly and dirty storage lot on this site for many, many years. And it's time that we move beyond just looking at this ugly lot and get something in the ground. I believe that developers have listened to some of our concerns. The left turn only exit on Harrison should mitigate many of our traffic concerns. Moving forward with this project is the first of several that will hopefully transform the Grand Avenue corridor to make it a more attractive place, to make it a place where people will want to shop and eat. And at some point, we have to take the risk to do that, to move forward. I ask for two things. One, that the left turn only procedure be in place during the construction period so that construction vehicles are not turning down Harrison. That would be very disruptive. And secondly, I would ask that Councilman Carini, who represents our area, create an interdepartmental working group that would meet periodically with residents during this construction period to make sure that our concerns are addressed. Thank you.
Okay. Next I have Susan Cools. Good morning, your name and address, please.
Good morning, Susan Cools, 2094 Grove Street, Baldwin. First, I would like to say, I think, Mr. Carini, you had just said that you, the board, were trying to protect us from overdevelopment by putting a moratorium or proposing to put a moratorium on the overlay that we all as a community worked for years to get. I'm a little confused by that. What overdevelopment do you think you're protecting us from? We have no development because there's been years and years of proposed development that has ended right here at the town of Hempstead every single time, and here we are again. Last time I was here, last month, I spoke about another 10 or 11 proposed projects that want to come into Baldwin because of the DRI or the overlay that, again, years of work have gone into. Well, now I hear whispers that at least a couple of those projects are probably going to walk away because they don't have the money to stay in this anymore because of all of the delays that have come from the town of Hempstead. Please stop doing this to us. We've all been here begging you to stop doing this. You're not protecting us from anything. Why don't you start working for us? Just vote yes on this. You do not need to review these plans anymore because even these new changes, I've had them on paper for 2 weeks, so I know you have also. Please do the right thing for us. We are, every day that passes, and the residents of Baldwin need to know this, every day that passes, we stand the chance of losing more and more of the proposed projects that were looking to come into Baldwin. We're going to have nothing, again, yet again. 30 years we've been doing this. Please.
What projects were submitted that are being delayed right now? Can you specifically name some projects?
I can't speak to them because
we don't have a lot of these projects on file. They weren't
It's not
filed. Breslin's
necessarily
file?
public information. I don't know what's wrong with this mic. But there have been, again, I'm not going to make official statements. There are other projects in the works in Baldwin by property owners and by developers.
Specifically name them, because a lot of the DRI projects have not been submitted yet. So I want to know specifically, if you're going to seek...
I don't have the authority to
projects.
publicly, I don't have the
which
authority
project?
to publicly name that.
Breslin has a project on file.
Okay.
I'm overall in support of this project. We have to go deal with the community on Harrison Avenue to make sure it's submitted.
There are other projects that are going to walk away because they're running out of money. Again, I do not have the legal authority to specifically say that. But Mr. Carini, you're kind of new to this game. We've all been here for 30 years trying to get things done in Baldwin. So I don't even need to stand here and name 10 projects specifically. We know as a civic organization and people involved in Baldwin that there are these projects that are interested in our town, that are saying now they're not going to be able to stay. I'm just asking you to vote for this project. It's not perfect, no project is. We need you to start working for us and helping us, and let's get this started, please.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Coles. Just so you know, I don't think Councilman Carini spoke just before now. That might have been the other council.
That was me.
Secondly, we've moved forward with all the projects with the state. So I don't think we need to say that people are walking away, especially if you're making an innuendo. Breslin's making a wonderful presentation here right now, and we're listening to the residents, and we're going to continue to do so. We appreciate everybody coming down. Ms. Craig, I have you signed in. Do you want to speak on this one? I'm busy signing in and everything today, okay? Gotcha. All right, next I have Kyla Chillers. No? Okay, no problem. Okay. I do not have any other slips on item number 8. Is there anybody that did not sign in, that has not spoken on item number 8, that wishes to be heard? Okay. With that, Counselor, if you want to give some thoughts here?
So yes, first of all, we appreciate the opportunity to meet all the residents and hear their comments. And as always, we're going to work with them, and I will be remaining for a short period of time after the hearing. If anybody has any questions, we have all the site plans with us, and we can further describe them off the record if we'll be here. Second of all, we can appreciate a lot of the comments relative to development and how they want to see the Baldwin community revitalized. That's our goal. Our goal is to revitalize the community with a beautiful project that has public benefits, public parks that are accessible to the public. And we feel that this project will bring new life, new jobs, and a new social, cultural aspect to the community that is lacking in that area and that the actual code was developed to promote. So we feel that this project does meet all the intents and purposes of the code. We're very excited about it, and like I said, I will be here in case the board or any residents have any further questions.
And I appreciate you making yourself available, especially the residents who raise their concerns. The last thing is, and I addressed it last time, and it's unfortunate because I was totally misrepresented it to a legislator. I know that the county did a study before the DRI of Grand Avenue, like a calming phase of it.
I think they did the resiliency study, is that what you're talking about?
And I just, have you guys talked to the county to make sure what they're doing, which might have been planned before your project, isn't going to have a negative impact on the area? That's all. Just want to make sure you guys are talking about it.
Closely with the county.
Great. Okay. That's just very important to me that you're working closely with the county. That's all.
Yeah.
All right. If not, any other questions from the board members? Then could I please have a motion?
Sure, Supervisor. I move that the public hearing be closed. I know we're confident that Mrs. Castellano will have an open line of communication with the residents of Baldwin. I move that the hearing be closed and a reserved decision.
Second.
Supervisor Clayton.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman D'Esposito.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Okay. And like I said, Council, I appreciate the presentation. And for any of the residents that would like, please take the time to go in the back, exchange information. We reserve the decision. And we'd like you to follow up with Council on the rest of your concerns so we can, you know what, make sure that it was followed through. We thank you all. Now I'm going to ask the town clerk to call the next item.
We have a proposed local law regarding rules applicable to all resident parking districts.
I do not have any slips of any member of the board which we heard on item number 9. Any member of the public did not sign in that wishes to be heard on item number 9? If not, may I please have a motion?
Supervisor, I move that the public hearing be closed and item be adopted.
Supervisor Clement.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman D'Esposito.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller. Aye. Councilman Muscarelli.
Madam Clerk, please call the next.
All right, the next two items are companion applications, number 10 and 10A. Resolution in order declaring the town board of the town of Hempstead as lead agencies in connection with the proposed agreement between Dish Wireless LLC and the town of Hempstead on behalf of the Levittown Water District, permitting Dish Network LLC to install, operate, maintain, and manage a telecommunications facility on approximately 100 feet of space on the real property located at 79 Azalea Road in Levittown, in the Levittown Water District, and issuing a negative declaration under the SEQA Act of the Environmental Control Law pursuant to 6 NYCRR 617.7.
Okay.
The companion application is also the proposed lease agreement between Dish Wireless LLC and the town of Hempstead on behalf of the Levittown Water District to install, operate, maintain, and manage a telecommunications facility on approximately 100 feet of space on the real property located at 79 Azalea Road in the Levittown Water District.
Okay. Is any member of the board wish to be heard on this? I do have a slip on this. Carol, it's yours? You're good? Okay. I do not have any slips on item number 10. Does anybody who did not sign in wish to be heard on item number 10? If not, may I please have a motion?
Madam Clerk, you need two separate motions, right?
Yes, we do.
I move that the board adopt the item 10.
Then.
Second.
Supervisor Clayton.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman D'Esposito.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller. Aye. Councilman Muscarelli.
Aye.
Supervisor, I move that we also close the public hearing and adopt 10A.
Second.
Supervisor Clayton.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman D'Esposito.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller. Aye. Councilman Muscarelli.
Aye. Good job, Councilman Muscarelli. Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have a proposed increase and improvement of the town of Hempstead refuse disposal district.
Okay. Any board member wish to hear this? Okay. Do you have any slips? Any member of the public did not sign in wish to hear on number 11? Okay. If you give me name and address for the record, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Just question with regard to what is the increase and the improvement? Was that functioning well before? Where are we going with this now?
Just for fun.
Deputy Commissioner, if you identify yourself, that'd be great.
Hi, Supervisor. Nick Martelli, Deputy Commissioner of Sanitation. This improvement is for to purchase a brand new payloader, which will be on the property.
Like recycling, is it moving to bring it back?
It's to move garbage and recycling on the property of the transfer station.
Okay.
So it's just for the transfer station? Okay, and what's the, how much of? 550,000?
500.
And where is it coming from?
We didn't purchase it.
Okay, well, was this something that you already anticipated, it's incorporated in the budget?
Yes.
Or is this, okay, so this is not going to warrant an additional increase?
This should be included in the budget.
Included in your capital, what included in the budget for the purchase of the equipment for the refuse, yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
No problem.
Supervisor, I move that the public hearing be closed and the item be adopted.
Second.
Supervisor Clayton.
Yep.
Councilman Carini. Councilman D'Esposito.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller. Aye. Councilman Muscarelli.
Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have a proposed increase and improvement of the town of Hempstead street lighting district.
Okay. And Board Member wish to be heard? Okay. Ms. Meredith, you signed in for this one?
Yes, Ms. Meredith, Alder resident. We have a number of residents, particularly on the north end of Baldwin, who have some issues with regard to lighting concerns in parts of Baldwin. So again, before anybody asks me what does this pertain to this particular request, I just need to know what this one is about, what is the funding, and again, just to put on alert to currently the 3 council people who touch on Baldwin representation, that residents are feeling like they're being left in the dark for what they're paying their taxes for. So if someone can give me some information about this, I'd appreciate it.
You want to do a response here on this one? Our esteemed town controller, John Mastromarino.
Supervisor John Mastromarino. This is for street lighting improvements. It would be for underground wiring, above ground wiring. A lot of residents don't realize that all the street lights in the unincorporated areas are the responsibility of the town of Hempstead. We pay for them, we maintain them, and we upgrade them. And this is an ongoing upgrade of $1 million.
So it's $1 million upgrade touching on which areas, and which communities are being
impacted? Throughout wherever it's necessary. I defer to the engineering department, wherever they feel it's necessary, or the street lighting department.
Ms. Meredith, if you have a couple locations that you think the lights are out, please forward it to the accounts person, and we'd be happy to follow up with that, of course.
Okay. I'd definitely like your card, so I can pass it on to the Civic Association.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else wish to be heard on this? If not, may I please have a motion?
Supervisor, I move that the public hearing be closed and the proposed increase and improvement be adopted.
Second. Supervisor Clayton.
Yep.
Councilman Greenie.
Aye.
Councilman Diaz-Pazino.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller. Aye. Councilman Mascarelli.
Aye.
Madam Clerk, please go ahead.
We have a proposed increase and improvement of the town of Hempstead Park District.
Okay, any member of the board wish to be heard on this? Ms. Meredith?
Ready after. Again, just need to know what locations, what parks are involved, and again, to speak to, at least we had some improvement with regard to Cosneck Park, but residents are still concerned about the lack of resources to provide support for, again, our seniors and our children, since someone basically in this facility said that, if our seniors needed to go somewhere, particularly in the heat, they could take a bus and go to Merrick.
Well, actually, Ms. Meredith, I will take a little exception with that comment, because we run an amazing summer program down at the beach, where we have a record amount of people show up. And during a heat wave, yeah, we do open up our senior centers as cooling centers to cool people. And lastly, much maybe to your surprise, we actually took the stance. We've now made it basically almost a 9-10 month senior program that we're already seeing a great population. So, but when it comes to opening a senior center during a heat wave, it's a cooling center, and we have one, and we open one in Baldwin as well. So that's to help people. As for addressing the question for the parks, I'll have you identify yourself.
Board of Supervisor, members of the town board, Kyle Negan, Parks and Recreation.
Nice time.
So for this particular funding source, I believe we have field remediation work in Newbridge, irrigation in Newbridge, some building work in Echo, but from a separate funding source specific to Ms. Meredith's request on Cosneck upcoming, we have just finished a community room upgrade, and we have a new spray pen planned within this year.
Awesome.
Okay, and as I said, with regard to that, the bathrooms at Cosneck, again, are still dated back to Beaver Cleaver, and we did, residents, community leaders did look at the community room downstairs, and just kind of buffing like a 30 or 40-year-old floor that probably has mold up underneath it, because I literally had to wear my mask inside the facility, so I know that there is mold in that basement, because we did have water in there at some point. So, no, it is the upgrades, we still have needs in Cosneck Park, and we still need to have resources and maybe year-round activities for our seniors in Baldwin. Year-round.
We actually do. We have a senior center there. And by the way, last month we installed the brand new bingo It was great. It was, we have a thriving senior center there that it's open year round, that people are taking part. You should come down, really. We had great, they love bingo there. We just made a major investment and a brand new upgrade to the bingo because the residents asked us to do it.
Yes. Residents have other needs besides playing bingo, Supervisor. In case you're not aware, and again, if you wanted to, you know, again, step down to the armory at what's going on today, they still have needs. So other support services on a regular basis at Coast Deck Park, I would appreciate it. So I stand on what I said. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Supervisor, I move that the public hearing be closed and the proposed increase and improvement be adopted.
Supervisor Clayton?
That's a yes.
Councilman Green?
Aye.
Councilman Diaz-Padrón?
Aye.
Councilman Dunn?
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller? Aye. Councilman
Aye.
Muscarella?
Madam Clerk, please call the decision calendar.
On the decision calendar, we have the application of BP Products NA Incorporated to modify and amend certain declarations of covenants and restrictions dated January 14, 2009, and recorded in the Nassau County Clerk's Office on March 24, 2009, in Bible 12488, page 541, regarding the property situated in Merrick.
I have a motion.
I move the board adopt the item.
Second.
Supervisor Clayton?
Aye.
Councilman Carini?
Aye.
Councilman Diaz-Padrón?
Aye.
Councilman Dunn?
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller? Aye. Councilman Muscarella?
Madam Clerk, please call the next item, or is it done continuously? It's 15 and 15 items.
No, separate.
Separate? Okay.
Number 15, we have a resolution adopting a secret negative declaration and determination of non-significance in connection with an application to rezone a parcel of land located in Belmore.
Okay, may I have a motion?
I move the board adopt the item.
Second.
Supervisor Clayton?
Aye.
Councilman Green?
Aye.
Councilman Diaz-Padrón?
Aye.
Councilman Dunn?
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller? Aye. Councilman Muscarella?
Aye. Madam Clerk, please call the next item on the decision calendar.
Yes, and the last and final decision is the application of SDL Belmore LLC to rezone the property from Residence B to Residence CA in North Belmore.
May I have a motion?
I move the board adopt the item.
Second.
Supervisor Clayton?
Aye.
Councilman Green?
Aye.
Councilman Diaz-Padrón?
Aye.
Councilman Dunn?
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller? Aye. Councilman Muscarella?
Mr. Supervisor, I have a request at this time. I would ask the board to entertain a motion to amend Resolution 122 to exclude Mr. Arante from the resolution today as the correct paperwork hasn't been fully filed.
That's an item on the administrative calendar?
It is, Your Honor.
Okay. You want to make that now or not? Yeah.
I will make a motion now.
Supervisor, I make a motion to amend item number 122 to exclude, what was the last name, sorry?
Arante.
Mr. Arante.
Administrative calendar? Okay. Can I have a motion on that?
That was, I need a second.
Second.
Okay, so this will be just the amendment.
Just the amendment on that administrative calendar.
Item number 122, excluding Mr. Arante. And Supervisor Clayton?
Aye.
Yes. Councilman Green?
Aye.
Councilman Diaz-Padrón?
Aye.
Councilman Dunn?
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller? Aye. Councilman Muscarella?
Aye. Madam Clerk, please call the remainder of the administrative calendar.
Yes, we have items 16 through 135, excluding 122, which was just considered.
Does any member of the board wish to hear on the administrative calendar? Okay. But 122 is still on there just for that one, with that one exclusion. 122 is still.
We're voting on the amendment.
No, we voted on the amendment. 122 is still on there with the exception of the one amendment on that. So 122 is still being held.
Pardon me. So it is items, for clarity, items 16 through 135 inclusive with the amendment.
Correct. Okay. Any member of the board wish to hear on the administrative calendar? Okay. First, we got a couple of slips here. We'll start with Felix Picacci. Good afternoon, Mr. Picacci. Name and address, please.
Felix Picacci, Franklin Square. For items 21, 117, and 118, the proposals or agreements, were those posted on the town's website? Stop the clock, please.
They will stop the clock. You don't have to tell people how they're operating here. That was items 21,
117.
117. Okay.
118.
The question is if they were posted on
The associated agreements or proposals, were they posted on the town's website prior to this meeting or currently posted? I couldn't find them.
And I'm going to ask the very nice gentleman making the hand gestures, who's going to look for it.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Tommy Lombardi, Deputy Town Controller. The agreements were not posted on prior to, were not posted on the website prior to, as part of the town board calendar.
Okay, yeah, they should be by law. So would it be too much trouble to ask that you post them on there so I don't have to foil it? We can, after the meeting, can you post those agreements and proposals?
We can get them posted for you.
Thank you. Did Skyline Demographic do any work regarding the agreement cited in 117? Have they to date done any work for the town?
Mr. Supervisor, if I might, no, they have not.
Has Troopman, Pepper, Hamilton, Sanders, LLP done any work to date regarding the associated amendment 117?
I had initial discussions with both of them, got their qualifications, but as far as work is concerned, no.
Yeah, okay. On number 116, did the board pass a resolution authorizing Eastern Horizon Services to translate redistricting notices? I didn't see a resolution, so I asked.
After the last town board approved the dates for the hearings, we contacted a number of translating services, and they were able to do it the quickest and the most efficiently, so my office contracted with them and authorized them to do the translations, because we wanted to have it, the dates of the hearings posted all over the town. We sent it out to a number of newspapers. We put it in all our public libraries. The hope is to get as much input from the public at our hearing dates.
Yeah, on that, you held a hearing last Tuesday, and I go on the town's website every weekend to see if there are any special meetings being held. I didn't see anything posted on the front page. I failed to look at the agenda items, I looked at the schedule and it wasn't there, but in the future, it would be nice, like you did in the past, to post special meetings on the front page of the website so people could see it's conspicuous as required by law.
Okay, we'll take it under advisement.
Yeah. On number 21.
121 or
21. 21. I recommended this 6 years ago that you use Udemy for courses. I hope the town is signing up for courses that will teach the town clerk members how to type these resolutions into Word or word processing documents and then export them into PDF form so they don't have to scan and OCR afterwards. Because right now you can see that some of these are illegible on the website because they're being scanned afterwards. There's no need to go through all that effort. So I hope these courses that you're taking at Udemy, and I take a lot of courses at Udemy, they're very good, and I hope that you improve the way you deliver the resolutions to the public so they're more legible. Also, this agreement, I said it wasn't on the website, it should have been by law. And also on number 132, this is the calling of a hearing for December 6th, but the question is, I couldn't find it on the website, it should be there. Where is the mass mailing law that's being proposed for on December 6th posted? That's also not on the website as far as I can tell.
Okay, so it will be posted in time now?
Excuse me?
It will be posted when the calendar goes up?
Okay, but it should be posted prior to the calling of the hearing, so if people have any objection to the date because of any particular reason, they can speak to it. Because you're referring to a law, and by law you have to provide any reference documents, if you read the Open Meetings Law. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mr. Kachi. Happy Thanksgiving to you. Next I have Ms. Meredith.
Community Meredith, just looking at this, what is the percentage of these contracts that were actually a bidding process was implemented? You know, how many of these contracts were no bid contracts? Would be the better question. That's one. Again, to Felix's point with regard to getting the information, why are we making payments for translation services when we're not even getting the information about the redistricting meetings on the town's website? What are we paying for?
I'm going to ask the gentleman to do the sign language to take 2 steps back. Thank you, sir.
Good morning, Ms. Meredith. Most of our contracts are bid out. We do have exceptions whereby they are personal service contract, meaning they could be attorneys, engineers, professional services, where we may not bid it out. However, at the beginning of the year, we established a list through a bidding process called an RFQ, where we qualify those professional services. So they are bid out at that point. When it comes to a specific job or a specific task that needs to be done, we will ask those who are qualified on that list to give us proposals at that point.
Okay, but how old is that list? I mean, how are you diversifying that list? Because there's a lot of the same people and you're getting renewal contracts. With Newsday is finally doing, you know, at least some minuscule investigative work. It's concerning to many of us when millions of dollars get allocated and then after the fact, folks try to claw it back and it's over with.
Those RFQs are done annually.
I'm sorry?
They're done annually.
The reviews are done annually?
The RFQ process is done annually for all those.
Okay, so how have we increased? What is the percentage of increase in terms of the suppliers, veteran suppliers, women suppliers, minority suppliers, when the same contractors are getting millions of dollars for tax money?
At any given time, any of those businesses, minority-owned businesses, women-owned businesses, veteran-owned businesses are encouraged to submit proposals to us. We do get many businesses where they do qualify under any one of those 3 categories.
Okay, and you say encourage, how are you actually going after them? Are you coordinating with veteran-owned business organizations? Are you reaching out to HBCUs? Where is the recruiting and the outreach when you're kind of just putting a little ad that, you know, you pay money to Newsday and maybe 1 or 2 community publications? Translation, Spanish language, Arabic. How are we diversifying our outreach to be more inclusive when, again, we read in Newsday that you're giving contracts out for decades to the same individuals and companies? Now, if that doesn't smell of something that does not sound right or legal, I don't know what does.
Again, I must have missed the Newsday article because I don't remember reading that. So I can tell you that we, again, encourage any of those businesses. We do put, especially for grant applications and things like that, we have language in encouraging all of those people to apply. So we do work very hard to get those businesses in, and we have increased over the number of years, so it's been working.
Okay, all right, thank you. Item number 94, the adopting the amendment for the subrecipient agreement between Town of Hempstead and Long Island Housing. With that rental assistance program, what budget line is that coming from? I know earlier in the year, the town kind of moved funds that were related to COVID, that I guess most residents were still struggling, those that did not get evicted, could have used that rental assistance. So is that rainy day fund going to be utilized for this type of grant, or are you going to tax residents?
The rental assistance was a separate program, am I correct about that? And all the money was actually allocated out to people, if I remember correctly at the time. So all the money that was actually sent to us to give rental assistance was done exactly that, given out to help people.
Okay, what about the millions of dollars that were moved, and I was told by this body that it was put into a rainy day account?
That isn't on this resolution, is it, John? No, this is the rental assistance program, which is
100% dispersed to the residents of the town of Hempstead. Rental assistance.
She's talking about the federal.
Okay, and someone will have a report that breaks all that down as far as what was received and what was expended?
We have that report.
You do have that report? Okay. I think for me, other than, I guess item 33, the increase of the town highway fund balance. what's that all about? 33.
33, you said? Ms. Marion, 33?
Yeah, 33. An increase in the 2022 highway fund appropriated fund balance account. Increase
That was a resolution to record sale of used equipment, which requires us to increase revenues and create a capital project.
From the sale of the equipment?
Yes, it does. Part-town highway fund, increase in the part-town highway fund appropriation account, $140,955.
Okay.
And that was used equipment sale. So once the money comes in, we want to give it back to the department to utilize for equipment. And that's what this resolution does.
Okay, thank you. My last two, 36 and 37, again, would be authorizing the increase operating funds for 36, parks operating fund, and for 37, sanitation operating fund. Can I get into that?
It's basically the same thing.
Okay, so what, that from also the sale of old outdated equipment?
Yes.
And that's being
Put back in
put back into it, but then what determines where those resources are going to be allocated?
It's up to the department as to how they want to spend the money for equipment.
Okay, because if nothing else, for 37, again, Baldwin residents need to find out if the town is going to reinstitute its sweeping program, because we need to get that.
Ms. Marion.
Committee. I would like to
Mary
finish my
Ellen
sentence.
Craig, did you want to?
Let other people expand their time periods, I just want to finish
And
my
a happy
statement. Craig
Thanksgiving.
is coming here.
I know, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
All right.
I'm glad I'm in a good mood today, because I'm helping out our veterans who are in need this month for the holiday. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hi, Ms. Craig, how are you today?
Thank you. Getting along, thank you.
Good.
Item number 16 is the homeowner build. I assume these are street trees.
Engineering or highway, what's coming up? Item number 16, there we go. Fred, just identify yourself. Tell them who you are.
Frederick Chowitz.
Oh, Fred, it's 12:30 in the afternoon.
Chowitz, Building Commissioner, Town of Hempstead. All of those trees that were removed are related to the resolutions for board-ups of dilapidated and delinquent houses. All of those trees, you will see some of the resolutions that we passed or we are submitting as part of the board-ups. Trees fall on houses, they create dangerous situations with respect to the structures, and every single one of those is related to the board-up. And if you read the resolutions, it specifically says the board-ups are a result of imminent danger.
Is the homeowner build?
I'm sorry?
Is the homeowner built?
Is the homeowner, yes, the homeowner, all of the property is built according to county records, plus an additional fee as per town code.
Thank you. And on the 17, is that to demolish those homes?
That's not to demolish those, it's resolution paperwork catching up from several months of all of the homes that have been boarded up. There are quite a few, and that's the situation. We react immediately. In imminent danger again, we board up to secure.
Thank you. On number 19, the parade permit, just wondering what the parade is.
Number 19, parade permits. Greg?
I'm not sure exactly what parade it is, but
Is there one community in particular you're talking about the parade? Okay, I'll find out the date and we'll have somebody follow up and get you the information on that. Okay.
I'm sorry that Councilman Esposito has left. How many parks are there total?
It parks for which one are you talking about?
I'm sorry, 36.
36, okay.
Good afternoon, Supervisor, members of the Town Board, Kyle Meehan, Parks and Recreation. I'm not sure exactly what the question was.
That's he's our deputy. What's exactly you're asking for?
I was just wondering how many parks there are total.
In the town of Hempstead?
Yes.
102, Frank, is it? 180? 190. 190 parks.
There's over 50 man parks and over 190.
Thank you. So now I would like to congratulate Councilman Esposito on his election to Congress.
Thank you.
And we're looking forward to working with you on issues of the Uniondale community in the future.
And I'm looking forward to working for you.
But now, the signs at all 190 parks will need to be changed because the council people are listed on the signs.
Don said he doesn't want to forget me, they're leaving it up.
We like that.
So my suggestion is that you just take a roller and roll over all of the council people, and then the signs, which look like they are brand new, would not have to be changed.
We appreciate your thoughts, and I like the idea of rolling over Councilman
Okay, on number 73. Oh, that's the same. That was the part. I think we're coming to 86. Resolution establishing standard workday for elected officers and or certain appointed positions. Are they uniform?
Yeah, what this one in particular, I think, is for Councilwoman Miller, because she came onto the board midterm. The state sets forth the guidelines of the workday and any lines we have to keep, but that one is in just in relation to Councilwoman Miller, who joined the board in February. I know it seems like years for you, but it's only in February, that's all.
And so then there will have to be another one for the replacement for Councilman Esposito.
Is there really any replacing him?
Okay, on 104, I have a lot of concern about the watering of this. Here we're designating Greenfield as an arboretum, and yet there is no watering that I ever see going on over there. A number of the trees are in distress as a result of the drought. I saw that there were some kind of...
Ms. Gray, actually, this is Mr. Mahalo, deputy. Why don't you tell her what you're doing down there?
Yeah, the designation of the arboretum is to protect the trees. We've had Cornell Cooperative Extension and we're looking to provide an opportunity to enhance its maintenance, to protect the trees, and to provide this 150 acres of green space within the Uniondale community. So as far as the watering is concerned, we have implemented a watering system with 6 new pieces of equipment over the last year. This particular year, unfortunately, was a very, very dry season, and I don't know that any watering system would have kept up, as most of us have known in our personal life.
It just hit Ms. Gray, and that was one thing that we did identify, and the Deputy Commissioner made a point of saying we wanted to enhance the watering system. We did make the investment, and as you know, we had such a tremendous dry season this year. We're hoping, that's appreciate that. We're hoping next year that these changes will actually, enhance the area. But we made an investment this year. Unfortunately, Mother Nature has her own mindset at times, but it's something that we're really committed to keeping it beautiful over there. You know, we're very limited. I think we're the only municipality that has a cemetery on Long Island, at least on Long Island. And I know I work very closely with the deputy supervisor. She's very passionate about it, very protective of it. I think we share the same concerns. We want it to be beautiful at all times. And by the way, I do want to personally say a happy Thanksgiving. That was really, really nice of you to make the nice remark for Councilman Diaz-Bazito. And all joking aside, it was very, very nice of you to take the time. We're all very, very proud of him. And we are counting on him for bringing a lot of good stuff back to the town of Hempstead. I'm going to call anybody else on this calendar. Oh.
Supervisor Clavin, Ms. Price, since you had asked about the parade, it is a parade on December 10th with the Arthritis Foundation. It's a 5K one run walk, and it will meander through Hempstead and Uniondale. If you want to see the exact map, we can get that for you. Okay, you're welcome.
Okay, got a little update here on the administrative calendar. Marcia DiTieri on the administrative calendar. Okay. We only, I didn't get the update if you didn't sign it, so I apologize. I just did the refresh. If you name an address, that'd be great.
Okay, I'm going to make it quick. I have two questions here. Item 84, just for clarification.
Name an address, though.
Excuse me?
Name an address.
Oh, take it, Uniondale. I have a clarification regarding item 84. Just to clarify, now that resolution, that was ordinance is in effect town-wise. This is just opt-in from other districts?
Yes, we made agreements with all of the school districts, and this is just adding a couple more of the school districts. So we're pretty much compliant, and we got all of the school districts that come out.
Okay, so every other area in the town of Hempstead is covered by this ordinance, including Uniondale, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Now, item 116, in the effort to attain transparency, true transparency, I'm asking and requesting that mailers be sent out to advise every resident, including our seniors who do not have access or do not use technology, that mailers be sent out to notify them of these two upcoming redistricting meetings on the 29th and the 13th. I hope you have money left in your mailing budget to do this. You know, I know campaign is passed, and you use a lot of money for that. But we need transparency for everyone.
What was the campaign? I don't understand that.
Yeah,
the government.
116. Item 116.
No, I know. You said they're campaigning, and I said.
No, I'm making a statement.
Oh.
Okay, I'm asking a request that mailers be sent out to inform everyone, including our seniors who do not have access or do not know how to utilize technology, that they may receive mailers to inform them of these upcoming redistricting meetings that are very, very important to our residents.
And the maps.
And the maps.
Okay, thank you. Take that under advisement.
Okay. I hope you have money in that budget to mail this out. Thank you.
With support of mail. Mr. Deere, you want to appear on the administrative comment?
Yes.
If you give me an address, please.
Marcia DeTier, Merritt, New York. Item number 80, resolution authorizing financing reconstruction of or additions to physical public betterment to improve the town of Hempstead Animal Shelter, $70,000. I was just wondering what that $70,000 is going towards, hopefully the animals.
The animal shelter had been replacing some of its cages that were in need of repair, and there was a request. There were a number of cages that were still hadn't been upgraded, and it was really serious need. So we decided to do it quickly, put it into the bond resolution so that they can go out and create, new cages for the animals.
I know the cages are expensive, and there are a number of that people identified that were of concern, and John got in this so we can replace a couple of them.
Are all the cages that are antiquated going to be replaced?
They identified a number of them, so it's a limited number right now.
I think a combination of what has been done plus these may be the entire, I can't speak for the actual operation down there, I haven't seen them, but I've been told that this will complete the renovation of all of them.
Yeah, everyone should take a walk down there and look how antiquated these cages are, especially for the cats. When a cage is open, it squeaks like an old prison cell and it scares them. So updated cages would be wonderful. And I just wanted to thank you for advertising the shelter on Channel 12 News. It brought a lot of adoptions to the plate and to continue and extend. Thank you.
That was nice. It was a good program. It was a good success. So that would be nice if people are going to enjoy a nice Thanksgiving meal, taking home a pet. That's the best part of the whole thing, to give some love. I do not have anybody else on the administrative calendar. Is anybody not to be heard that did not sign in? Okay, may I please have a motion on the administrative calendar?
Supervisor, I move we adopt the administrative calendar in its entirety.
Supervisor Clayton?
Aye.
Councilman Queenie?
Aye.
Councilman Diaz-Padrón?
Aye.
Councilman Dunn?
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller?
Aye.
Councilman Mascarello?
Aye.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Supervisor Clayton?
Aye.
Councilman Queenie?
Aye.
Councilman Diaz-Padrón?
Aye.
Councilman Dunn?
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller? Aye. Councilman Mascarello?
Aye. Okay, that the formal town board meeting is adjourned. The town board will remain to listen to the comments of the residents, and we will start off with our very own Phyllis Perkacci. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
Bill Perkacci, Franklin Square. On September 6th, I requested the records provided to Moody's Investment Services used to produce their credit opinion report for the town of Hempstead. On October 6th, the town's FOIL officer, Marie Jerome, indicated the town could not provide these records until October 31st because, and I quote, the majority of the reliance is on the 2020 audit. My rhetorical question is why a presentation given on August 22nd couldn't be provided until October 31st. But on October 24th, I received the 8-page document titled Town of Hempstead Moody's Investment Services dated August 22nd. The document refers to a reference document, which was not provided to me. On October 24th, I emailed Ms. Jerome asking her to send me the so-called reference document. On October 25th, Ms. Jerome emailed me a single page of the purported document, a page from the purported document, and it was titled Town of Hempstead 2021 Budget Unaudited Actual as of October 25th, 2022. I then asked Ms. Jerome to send me the entire document, not just one page, and indicated that the date, October 25th, was not the date of the presentation, which was August 22nd. Ms. Jerome didn't respond. I appealed the decision to Don Durham on November 4th, and I still haven't heard. It's past due. I spoke with Mr. Mastromarino before the meeting. He says he'll get it to me. I'm just saying all this because I want to put it on the record that I am asking for the records, and you should have provided them to me immediately after I requested them, since those records were available to Moody's on August 22nd. It should have been provided to me prior to the budget hearing, so I might have had questions about it. I just want to reiterate that today's hearings, administrative calendar, everything was illegal by state law. The state law modified November 2021 requires that all resolutions be presented on the town's website 24 hours prior to the meeting, and that wasn't done. If you don't have everything ready, I understand that. You get to put up what you have and then say, look back later and we'll get to the rest of them. But to put nothing up, I think it's disingenuous. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. McCutcheon. Next I have Shakila Kaidi. Okay. Okay. Ms. Meredith? Ms. Jacobs? Okay. Mr. Jacobs? All right. Kim Martino? Okay. Ms. Gray, did you want to go one more time? All right. Ms. Gray, why don't you go up to the front line? Ms. Gray. You sure? Okay.
I would like to return to the issue of the signs, because 190 parks, and as I said, the signs which are up there currently look brand new. So they were done fairly recently. There is no justification for putting up 190 new signs just because we'll have a new council person. And yet, I know that is the way that you are going to go. So I'm hoping that you will have a change of heart and you will do a statesperson-like decision to find a way to avoid having to do that, because that's thousands of dollars, probably $20,000.
It's absolutely not. That is not the case at all. It is not, so I don't want you to think it is thousands of dollars. It's just not the case. We do it in-house, and it's a nominal cost, actually.
In any case, there really is no reason for the names to be there. Thank you. And the redistricting, I'm hoping that we will be having a proper and well thought out redistricting situation. Thank you.
Okay.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you too. Thank you very much. Ms. Didier?
Washington Tier in New York. Question about New Tree Preservation Act. Hopefully something will be put on the calendar before the end of the year, I'm hoping. It's been going on, I've been speaking since 2017, and it's only gotten worse, so hopefully Commissioner Jowards.
Yeah, actually, we might have something on the next calendar, if not probably the first one of January. There's an outside chance we might get it on the next calendar.
That would be great.
Yeah, I'll keep you in the loop on that, okay?
All right, thank you.
No problem. Have an awesome Thanksgiving. Thank you. All right, I have any other slips? Anybody else? Then I wish everybody a happy and blessed Thanksgiving to you and your families. All right, take care.